Well, that was very much Timu Jurassic Park, a missed opportunity. The family dynamics were unbalanced. There were some odd choices that were made. The plot was full of conveniences, and there was a shot straight out of Shaun of the Dead. Instead of zombies, it was dinosaurs. What it did have going for it was Ewan McGregor's performance, but even that couldn't save this film. There were some strange camera shots, but what it did have was a good score. So there's that. So the story is set in the 80s and kind of has like this Jurassic Park meets Stranger Things vibes going for it. And essentially it starts off with a big sort of street party that's going on, and everyone seems to be having a good time, all smiles. It seems like the perfect sort of idyllic suburban livelihood that they're living. And everybody around them is essentially saying, "Oh, you've got such a great family. Everything is like perfect from the outside looking in." But there is some family drama. When the street party ends and everyone goes to sleep, then some mysterious lights start appearing out of nowhere, and unsure what's going on, thinking that, oh, it could be a bit of a storm. Through the radio and TV broadcasts, there are a few clues as to what is going on, and then all of a sudden the big light storm occurs, and then suddenly they are transported to the Jurassic period and have to survive in this new world. So the problem with this film is the fact that it's been done so many times beforehand and done a better job as well. Films like Jurassic Park is the main film that comes to mind, and it's a far superior film to this. And the problem with it is that it's set in the 80s, and there's a weird sort of unbalanced family dynamic which isn't really sort of true to the family dynamics, at least in my opinion, of that time, where the male father figure is the patriarch of the family during that sort of time, whereas here they've flipped the switch around and made it so that the mother is the family patriarch taking the lead on this. And so it kind of caters to the modern audience that we are seeing more and more and more. And it is really quite frustrating because they could have done something really genuinely quite scary and quite horrifying, and instead they had to sort of build the story around this sort of family dynamic that is happening, and it just seems a little bit off for the time period, and it just doesn't really sort of work in this respect. And no disrespect to Anne Hathaway, her acting is actually pretty good in this. It's just where the script fails and it sort of tries to tailor it for today's audience, and it's set in the 80s, and so when you start mixing those two different time periods together, then you get a mismatch. Also, there were some very strange camera angles and odd camera shots from the director, which I felt was very out of place. Some very odd close-ups, and so it was a very interesting stylistic choice that the director went, but again I feel it didn't sort of work in this respect. When you're dealing with dinosaurs and horror and 80s, and you want it to be clean, you want it to be simple, you want to have the coverage of the actors sort of in a way that isn't too overly complicated, and keep it very sort of minimalist if you can, because what you want in the background is to be like also the main focus as well. The dinosaurs is what you want to sort of spend most of your attention on, because that's what's going on around them. That's why they're there. They're transported to the Jurassic period. It just frustrates me where they try to be too clever for their own good with like the certain sort of camera angles. There was a ridiculous dinosaur sex scene which was trying to add levity to the piece, which really didn't sort of work, and it just felt forced and it felt sort of contrived, and it was one of those moments where you were just like, you what? Why the fuck is this in here? Why? You have the family dynamics. You could just have like a moment of levity between the characters. It just felt really distracting and out of place. Like I said, there was also a scene that was taken straight out of Shaun of the Dead where they're driving through the town that they're in, and all the dinosaurs are like killing people all around them, and it kind of reminded me of that scene in Shaun of the Dead where Shaun and Ed are driving through towards the Winchester and everything is all happening around them, but instead of dinosaurs it's zombies. And I don't know, that made me laugh. I thought of that whilst watching the film and I was just like lol. Ewan McGregor's performance was good, but when he did sort of sacrifice himself for the family, it was completely undermined and undercut because the plot had all these conveniences that they would go back in time again before like the event happened. Like they had 15 minutes beforehand to like warn people, oh just to let you know the town is going to be transported, or like meet us here, so that you know, it sort of completely undermines his sacrifice and makes it pointless really. And you're like, oh well, it would have hit harder if Ewan McGregor's character didn't survive. And you're just like, fuck, really? There's a lot of that in the film. There were some moments of horror. There was a moment where Ewan McGregor's character was walking around and looking for their family dog and comes across a bin that was around the corner of this sort of outhouse or building or whatever, and you didn't quite see the dinosaur, but you could see it sort of rummaging around all the rubbish and stuff. And there was genuine fear in that one particular scene because you didn't see the dinosaurs. You saw like a little bit of a shadow, very sort of reminiscent of Steven Spielberg, but it was very few and far between. Moments like that rarely happened, and so it kind of ruined the horror element of it. It would have been nice not to have seen like the dinosaurs as a whole until much later on, but hey ho. So yeah, I mean, it's one of those films that I really wouldn't bother going and seeing, or just wait until it comes out on digital or DVD or whatever, and watch it at home. It's not particularly great, and even Ewan McGregor can't really save this one. So unfortunately, this is a bit of a dud. So that's just my opinion. So thank you very much for watching. If you like watching these types of videos, please check out the video here, and I shall see you in the next video. And please remember to like and subscribe to my channel.